Well, hey there, folks. We've got a really special guest with us today. We're with Michael Schratt, the ever-talented illustrator and graphics artist who's done a world of good for UFO research and the entire community of UFO researchers. I've been listening to Michael's lectures ever since around the late 90s, and I was impressed with all of them. So I was really happy today when he was here at Denver, Colorado MUFON, to give us a fascinating presentation of illustrations around the UFO researcher Leonard Stringfield from the Air Force, who had a lot of research into crash retrievals. And Michael gave us a great presentation today illustrating all of these fascinating crashes. And Michael, I had no idea that Wright-Patterson may have had so much evidence and crash retrieval material and even bodies. But I'm really curious, what got you to go into this direction all these decades ago? What was your motivation before?
Well, first of all, it's good to be with you.
Yes.
And the other thing is, I cannot take credit for the artwork. I'm just the person that's crazy enough to go down these rabbit holes and look into these things. I mean, it takes a geek like me to get excited about microfilm reels at the library. You know, it'd have to be a special type of person to dig down into the university archives, go into all these research centers across the country, read these obscure accounts and dig out these files that have been sitting there for 40 years. I like to do that kind of thing. I like to go where other people haven't gone, and looking at Leonard Stringfield, his cases were so compelling because they were first-hand military sources, people that we should consider. And reading his literature, I thought that this is groundbreaking research. It's the best material in all of ufology because it's talking about the debris, the bodies, and the craft, the physical hardware that it's going to take to move this whole field forward. So I thought we need to get illustrations done of these crash retrieval cases. So I want to give credit to my artists. I cannot do what they do.
Right.
There's no way I could do it without it. So to answer your question, how I got involved in this, at a very young age, my father used to take me to a place called Victory Air Museum near Mundelein, Illinois. And what they had is these old World War II warbirds just parked out on the field. There was grass growing up through the wheel wells, and the paint was chipped, and the windshields were cracked. And these old warbirds had this ghostly appeal. And that's what really got me going. My father would take me to Oshkosh, was there for 27 years straight, always had an interest in aviation, got my pilot's license, and then started really looking into this UFO field, interviewing people who worked in defense contractors, aerospace engineers, and that led to the crash retrievals because I think it's the most important facet of ufology.
Right.
It's the vehicle that is going to procure this disclosure. Absolutely.
Yes, because we've been hearing a lot about this from people, David Grush and others who've talked about this. I think it's very helpful to have graphic illustrations.
Absolutely.
And what you did today and what you usually do in your lectures is you bring the audience into the site of the crash retrieval. You say,
you see the vision. I know you see the vision. I see it. Yeah.
Yeah. You bring people in first with the rough sketches, then with the black and white, and they say, let's imagine we were there. What would it look like? And all of a sudden you feel like it's pretty close. You said they were computer generated and they're very carefully done. Your final color illustrations, and it gives us the feeling of what it would have been like to see. And there were just so many that you went through today, going all the way from Cape Girardeau, which I heard the first time at Ryan the Woods Crash Retrieval Conference. I think that the first one was in 2002. That's when it was. That was the first time I heard about Cape Girardeau. I mean, a lot of maybe people interested in this didn't know there was something before Roswell. There was the Italian case that David Grush has talked about. So you kind of, 1941 seems like a long time ago, but there is the witnesses describing what it looks like.
Absolutely. Yeah. It is the first-hand military witnesses that are the linchpin to all of this. And the problem we're running into is that the United States government, you can see what they're doing. They're trying to run out the clock. There are no original 509th Bomb Group members anymore from Roswell Army Airfield. So in the minds of the government, it's cover-up complete. And so that's why what I try to make a point in my lecture is that it's incumbent upon us to take the bull by the horns, make a management decision, track down the legacy crash retrieval witnesses, get them into congressional hearings that can lead us to the body of the debris. Anything less than that, we're spinning our wheels.
Exactly. And another thing that I liked what you did today is, after some of the cases, what Michael did is he gave us an action note, a step to take. And I thought that was brilliant. Because instead of just presenting the case and we're okay, now what do we do? You said, oh, our congressmen and senators, congresspeople and senators should be having hearings about this sort of aspect of it, or this aspect of the crash retrievals, and it gave it a feeling of the way that it could move forward.
Absolutely.
Which we often don't have a sense of how to accomplish. In other words, even though the vast majority of our government is pretty intransigent about doing anything about this, we have heard various congresspeople, senators, the hearings, who seem pretty adamant in making some progress.
We've heard these things, but again, it's been since 1941 sort of the origin point of this whole concept, but they've had so much time now to do this process in the democratic way, and it's failed us.
Yeah.
It's really failed us. So it's really up to us now. We've got to track down these legacy witnesses.
Yeah. Are you optimistic that we're going to make some progress? It's been slow since I've been hearing your lectures. I think a lot of us thought we would get some progress maybe sooner than this, but it seems like it's been dragging. But do you think it's going to make up for that with some sort of accelerating evidence or anything that could come from?
That's what it requires. It requires physical evidence. We don't need any more CE1 cases. There's an abundance of knowledge and information and facts and sightings. We just don't need that. What we need now is physical hardware.
Right.
That's what's going to move this forward. And you know that the United States intelligence community, the defense contractors, they have moved this field out of a top secret classified type scenario into a proprietary scenario. And they've made it internal toward their defense contractors. So you can't FOIA these things.
That's right.
And they've got multiple repositories around the country where they've diversified their portfolio. They've got some craft at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. They've got things at MacDill Air Force Base. They've got things at Eglin Air Force Base.
And Battelle's there, and Dayton and so forth.
These guys are professionals. They're the varsity team. They've got this stuff locked down in underground vaults. It's very impossible to get access to.
This isn't conspiracy theory.
No, this is
our
real.
viewers should know this is the way it really works this way. And what you're suggesting is the reason it was privatized was deliberately for the government to be exempt from FOIA.
Part of it. And then the other part of it too is the dirty deal that the United States government cut with the defense contractors early on, like late 40s, early 50s time frame, is that the government said, we don't care what you do. All we care is that tell us what the propulsion system is and what is the weapons research advancement that we can gain from it. And you can commercialize this, you can trickle down the technology, and you can make billions. All we want to know are those two things. And that's the track we've been on.
Yes. So everyone needs to take some action, right? Contact their representatives and get some hearings. I mean, I personally feel like it's really ripe for that right now.
It is right.
The stage has been set. We've had a lot of witnesses. What are they? The retort has been, where's the evidence? Well, the next step is to have some hearings with some actual pieces of something.
You can feel the overall vibe of the country is going to be receptive to this message.
Yeah. Yes. Well, Michael, thanks a lot. Thanks for all your hard work.
Good. Great.